DraftKings Sportsbook. Y'all know we got major love for them. I'm talking about the top-rated sportsbooking app in the U.S. Safe, secure, but more importantly, Deke, just like you, it's reliable, baby.
Thanks for the compliment.
Come on, man. I don't have to compliment you when I'm just being honest. But we know, man, the season is here, and there is no better way to watch some of these games than by having a little bit of extra incentive to pay attention to it, because we know at times when you invest in some of these games, whether it be same game parlays, single game parlays, player performances and things like that. I mean, it's a lot that you could be paying attention to.
Has them all.
They definitely do. And for the places, because we know a lot of y'all are in, all over the world. But in certain places, you can't use the sports booking app. I get that. But they also have a fantasy football as well, where you're able to bet on those, on particular matchups each and every week, and also have a little bit of fun as well, man. So we definitely want to salute DraftKings for that. But more importantly, y'all need to make sure you're downloading that app. All right. If you haven't done so just yet, download the app. And then what you need to do is this. You got to use this promo code. You know what the promo code is, man?
It's pretty easy to remember.
I think so.
I sit next to the guy. It's
Oh,
Moats.
It's that simple. MOATS. You use that promo code. Your first bet for $5. That's all you got to put a $5 bet in. You're going to get $200 in free bets. $200 in free bets. Essentially, that's free money. So with that being said, you know what to do. Don't waste time. Use the promo code. Download that app. Put that $5 bet in there. And then after that, go ahead, get that free money and go to work. But, Deke, we also know this, man. At times, some people struggle with this thing, huh?
Mm-hmm.
At times, some people might have some problems.
Right.
Well, as you look on the screen right now, you see some information up there, some numbers you could call, number you could text. But more importantly, there's another phone number up there.
Yeah.
And it goes by 1-800-GAMBLER. I say 1-800-GAMBLER. So you want to go with Mark Robinson? You got to start first, man.
I thought he looked good out there. I mean, there's no doubt with him that he cares.
Mm-hmm.
Not afraid to get in the mix.
Mm-hmm.
Lay in the wood. Some big hits. And it didn't seem like, I know we talked about with the Seahawks game in terms of coverage with him. You didn't think it was capability. It was just more of miscommunication.
Fatigue and miscommunication.
I don't remember any coverage mishaps with him in this game. I rewatched it. I could be wrong. My eyes could be deceiving me. But you combine that with, anytime these Jaguars were trying to run the ball, he was in the mix, making tackles at the line of scrimmage, some tackles for loss. And the big hits. So, he's flying all over the field. You could see his athleticism. Yeah. I'm just wondering, does he have a chance to start at some point this year or get some legitimate reps? Because you compare him to what we've been seeing with, Devin Bush and, even Robert Spillane. I thought Robert Spillane played fine, but you could see Mark Robinson has a different level or a different upside to him if he could somehow pull this all together.
No, man, I like that, man. Mark definitely played well. I thought leaving out of that game, I thought that he was probably the third best guy on the field at that position. I thought that Myles Jack played the best of the group. I thought Robert Spillane was number 2 in that group. And to me, it was close between Devin and Mark. I just thought Mark was more productive. At the end of the day,
Devin didn't play bad.
He didn't play bad, but it wasn't the productivity. When you look at Spillane, when you look at Mark Robinson, you look at Myles Jack, all three of them dudes were super productive. So once again, it's man, when we're watching certain plays, bro, these guys are making plays. Y'all all in the same positions, but they're making the plays. I definitely like Mark Robinson a lot, though. I thought this week he looked more comfortable. He looked like he was calm. He looked like it was his second game out there. First game. Sometimes when it's your first time in NFL stadium, your heart is beating through your chest. You start thinking fast. You start not thinking when you get tired. So all of that played into it. The miscommunication between him and Buddy Johnson last week. You didn't see a lot of that this week. It was a lot better communication as a whole with all three linebacker groups. When it was Myles and Devin, when it was Myles and Spillane, when it was Robert and Devin, when it was Mark Robinson, then it was Buddy Johnson and Robert Spillane, then it was Mark Robinson and Robert Spillane, then it was Mark and Buddy together. So looking at all of those, I thought all the communication across the board was good. Some of these crossing routes I thought was really good. Some of the plays that I'm going to highlight with Robert Spillane, when I do a little film session on him in coverage, you can see the communication, the details, and how sticky he was in certain elements, not just versus running backs, not just versus tight ends, but versus wide receivers as well, because I know that's this narrative. He can't cover. He's slow. He's all this other stuff. So it's man, all right, I'm just looking at the tape. The tape was showing me what the tape was showing me. So we'll see. But to me, man, Mark Robinson, I think that he has a chance to start at some point in time this year. I just think it's one of those things where it's going to depend on what the guys in front of him are doing. You know, if it's Devin Bush out there, well, you know they're not going to go Devin and just bunny hop Robert Spillane. It'll be Devin, then Robert. So you would need both of those guys to play bad or somebody go down.
Not something we're looking for.
Whereas for Mark, I think that Mark, early on, we should feel his presence immediately on special teams. I think that should be the first thing that I'm feeling from him, punt, kickoff coverage-wise, right? But then, because think about Vince Williams. We could feel Vince's impact on special teams before he even got on defense. It was like, yo, he's a dude. Okay, Mark, you should.
That's where Debo made his lane too.
All of us do. All of us got to come in. I had to get tackles on kickoff. I got games where Buffalo was like, yo, okay, this is when they had 4 tackles, 3 tackles, all right, 2 and 4. So it was like, yo, we all got to do it. You can't get to defense without playing on special teams and being a producer on special teams unless you're one of these first-round draft picks. Mark isn't one of those guys. So, but the thing with Mark that I do like is this: his athletic ability. He's rangy. And that was something that we saw with him. We was like, yo, you know, we could big hit. That was on his tape. Question is, okay, can he do it consistently? Can he match some of the matchup cover stuff? Can he do those things? But he showed in this game against the Jags, when he's a little bit subtle, when he's out there and he's not thinking too much and he could just play, he's more than capable of that. But I also thought that for me, Robert Spillane made me feel extremely comfortable. Watching his performance out there against the run, against the pass, against tight ends, running backs, receivers, zone, man. I'm like, bro, everything that people just casually say about him negative, I'm like, man, why does this show up on tape then? And that's my whole like issue with it. It's like, man, he can't be this, and this. And Devin continues to get these opportunities when I'm looking at both. And I'm like, well, man, he's doing the things that y'all say he can't do. And he's still being productive. And he's out there with the same people that Devin is out there with.
I think the thing with Robert Spillane is the criticism was warranted for him in last preseason and when he got in the regular season. But now, based off these 2 preseason games, you're
can't
right.
say that. I
thought he played pretty good.
Right. When people bring it up, it's like, yo, you're not watching anything from this year. You're clearly just in the past. You're living in the past right now. And that's the purpose of the film session. I was going to show some of that stuff. Because to me, Spillane has taken a huge step in terms of how much he's gotten better in his coverage. Talk about the speed part. Man, it's a clip with him and Christian Kirk running, hauling tail across the field. He's step for step with this dude. Yeah, I've seen Christian Kirk in person. That was my teammate in AZ. I know what he looked like. So to me, I'm just like, man, I hear all this, but man, Spillane is showing each and every week he's a productive player. He's a consistent player. He's a player that you can trust. At the end of the day, what are we looking for? You know? So that's kind of like my energy with that, man. And like I said, Devin didn't play bad, not at all. But it's no productivity to that. I thought the first drive, it was his most productive drive that we've seen from him in a while. You know?
His tackles weren't that impactful.
They weren't.
That's the problem.
It was just stat tackles. It wasn't like impact tackles. It was, okay, you chased it over here, but at least you got it on the tackle. And that's a Devin Bush compliment because prior to that, it was,
we shouldn't be having these compliments for Devin Bush. We can't be saying,
thank you.
He didn't look that bad. Or he played all right.
Thank you. But that's what we do when we talk about him and we criticize the heck out of Robert Spillane. Why is that?
We can't be doing that anymore.
But make that make sense. Why do we will give those type of compliments to Devin? Oh, man, he jumped on the tackle. That's good. But for Spillane, it's like, yo, he got to go above and beyond just to be like, all right, we respect it. I don't understand that. Like, at this stage in both of their careers, man, who's the productive player right now? We're seeing the same stuff. Who's the productive player? Who's making tackles? Who's not? Who's doing what they're supposed to do in coverage and who's not? And that's my biggest thing when we're talking about those 2 players. I know it's not popular. I know it's not something where we're like, oh, no.
It just sucks to admit we traded up in the first round to get this guy.
And I feel you on all that.
Undrafted. Was he an undrafted rookie?
He seemed like it to me, but it's just like, bro, when you watch the tape, I don't care about a person's personal opinion. I don't care about a fan's opinion. What I care about is what that tape shows me. Because that doesn't lie to me. That has no feeling. That has no emotion. That has no biasness. That just is. And for me, I love that. I don't care about the opinions. I don't care who likes who and who offends who and stuff like that. It's like, bro, when you cut the tape on, who's making the plays? That's all. And to me, 41 makes a lot of plays these first 2 preseason games. So
that's something you weren't even expecting coming.
I was not.
Because you thought preseason was going to be.
I thought it would be a struggle for him.
Type of games, right?
Absolutely. Because he looked way better, way faster, way more confident. And trust me, dudes do get better. When you talk about guys surviving in this league, there weren't high-end picks, there weren't ultra athletes. Spillane isn't a first-round draft pick. Spillane isn't a great athlete, right? But you look at how hard that man works on and off the field. You look at the development. We're seeing it. And that's the stuff for me where it's like, I get draft positions. I get, what we invested in all this stuff. But how many years removed are we from that type of stuff? Yeah.
That's just why it feels bad. But at the same time, you just got to get to the point of like, who's going to be the better guy for this season. Right?
That when you cut the tape, boy, one player makes plays, the other has not. One player is not just in position; he's actually shooting his gun and attacking. You look at the play.
Yeah, I think the huge advantage is in the run game.
I would agree.
What we're seeing, I think. But obviously, you're right. Spillane has improved his coverage, so if we're not losing in Spillane's coverage, it's like, what are we doing? Because Devin Bush usually on these run plays, you're seeing him about 5 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Okay, y'all can call me a hater all you want about
I'm
whatever. I'm
right?
just, my energy. I don't care about the bias stuff. I'm just a tape guy. And the tape is showing what the tape is showing. Spillane has been the more productive player. Spillane has been the better player through these 2 games. Hate me, love it is what it is. The tape, that's what it is. Don't get mad with me, get mad with the players. You know what I mean? If he plays better, then he's the guy. And when I watch 41 and I watch 55, it's like, bro, one is making a lot more plays than the other. And the knock on one was supposed to be he's not fast, not athletic, but I'm cutting on tape and I'm watching him do these quote unquote
maybe that's
things
why Madden gave him
do.
an 88 speed or whatever.
I'm watching him. Deke, bro. This is how like
maybe Madden knew.
Deke, you remember when I told you I was on one? This is how much I was on one last night, bro. As I'm cutting up these plays, I call my wifey's sitting next to me in bed. I call my oldest KK. She don't even care about football. Like I said, baby girl, come here real quick. I put on 2 plays. I said, look at this player with 55. Tell me what you think. She's like, all right. I mean, it's kind of close. It's all right. Then I showed her to play 41. Drag, run with him. I said, all right, what you think about that? She's like, no, that's a good play right there. I was like, who do you think was faster right here? Said, oh, definitely this dude. So who do you think is the better cover guy? Right? If you're talking about just covering a guy, who do you think is better? Definitely this dude. I'm like, that's Spillane, though. I was like, well, who do you think is the slower player? This one right here. So, listen, babe, wifey, who you think? We all watching the same thing.
Did a survey.
I'm just like, I'm like, maybe I'm tripping.
No,
that's what the tape says, though.
No, I think
I just look at the
saying
tape.
The same thing because
I'm just looking at the tape,
because
bro.
it goes back to I don't think Devin Bush played bad. It was like an improvement from last week, but what is that really saying?
Yeah,
we can't keep saying that. This wasn't a bad game or this was okay. We're not looking for that.
I be sitting here and I'm just like, I get.
It's cool if it's a one-off.
Like, at what point do we say, okay, maybe this guy needs this type of motivation? Maybe that motivation is we just move on and allow this guy to get this opportunity. Like, when I'm watching, I'm just like, yo, am I tripping here? I'm looking at this stuff. I'm like, bro, where am I off? Where am I missing with what he's shown this year in these 2 games?
I'm ready to move on to Mark Robinson.
Fair enough, man.
But Spillane, no, you're right. In terms of just, he didn't give up any big plays. Mm-hmm. And in coverage, I think the one wasn't a zone drop. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't even necessarily his fault that it got completed, but he was right there. But
I wanted to break that down as well because eyes in depth. You watch his drop you watch his drop and watch how fast he gets out of it, even compared to a Myles Jack. And this was one of the ones from Myles where I'm like, bro, you got to read that a little bit faster. But once again, it's playing. I'm like, okay. And then it was one play where the ball was caught on his side, and I think Akello forced him out. And I was like, I know somebody gonna look and say, "Oh, Spillane, that was his man." Absolutely not. It was not his man.
How about Akello though?
Yeah, Akello good.
Some physicality.
Absolutely, I like Akello, man.
The stuff that he was knocked on earlier in his career.
It was.
He's
I'm liking the
making some
physicality.
tackles.
No, I definitely like that with his game though.
Again, have
man.
yet to see him get burned.
Fair enough.
I've yet to see him get burned.
Fair enough.
So
man.
hopefully that keeps going.
Fair enough, man. Hey, we're gonna need them all, baby. Let's roll. No, I like it though, man. I definitely like it.
You got me excited about Spillane. I mean, I thought he played good, but now you're getting me thinking, all right, we could roll with him with Myles Jack and be fine.
When I got done last night, I said, yep, if it's Spillane and Myles Jack, we are completely fine.
Wow.
That's where I
Forget
was
a
with
trade.
It. That's where I was
Roquan
with
Smith
it.
who?
I'm just saying that's where I was with it in the sense of like, yes, if you get a Roquan is a major upgrade. But I already said Roquan would be our best linebacker over Myles Jack.
We don't have to give up a pick or pay him.
But in the sense of if we're
$20
talking about this year, because as we've said on numerous occasions, when you're building a roster, you're not going to have all pros at every position. You're not going to have Pro Bowlers at every position. You're going to have some really good players, but you're also going to have what? You're going to have some role players. You're going to have some guys that maybe they're not great at everything, but you get this consistently from this player. And as long as you get this and you pair it with this and this, you can win with that. When I look at Spillane, I'm like, bro, You can win with this. This is consistency. It maybe isn't as beautiful. It's not the high end that we might have wanted, but I'd rather have this consistency here than 1 week is here, 1 week is here. Or it's a lot of weeks down here, a couple plays where we're right here. I can't win with that. I can't trust that. And that's the difference.